I've been brought along a certain thought train. In the New Age movement, you can find videos about how the Christ energy is what comes up in the pineal gland, and it goes up and down once a month. And so all the stories of the Bible are metaphors for what goes on inside us. Just because what happens inside us is true in principle, it does not mean as above, so below, as within, so without. It does not mean that a real physical Messiah could have come. One does not negate the other. So now imagine we have formless, limitless justness, limitlessness and formlessness and consciousness. And that decides to create other beings in their image. So there's nowhere outside of all the ness. So the space has to be created within. So within that space, within all that ness, in the very core, in the center, is where that creation is going to be. Can't be too close to all the energy of the ness. It has to be further away. But all the ness sets up a throne above. So if it's in the middle, above could be like anywhere. But it picks a spot, calls it the throne room, and that's where it interacts from. And the light softened. And all the ness from that umbilical cord sort of thing, that throne room, sends angels back and forth. So we have messages going upside down, subconscious and conscious, as if we are the subconscious of all the ness. And that we were made in the image of all the ness, looking at us and sending interactions back and forth. So we have the same thing going on within us, because we're created in the image of the ness with us in its womb. So if we have messages going up to the face of our ness, because we have an aura field, an energy field, we're just not isolated to this body. So we have all that space between us and the rest of creation within all the ness. So we have our subconscious comes up to meet the conscious, and like angels, all the electrical pulses send information. All the blood cells within the blood carries all sorts of conditions that create a response. And so it goes. And then so that more of the ness can be experienced within us. A sun is created to go back and forth to be an intermediary. So now just that sun coming here amongst us is that once the sun goes down to connect the subconscious with the conscious and then play intermediary. So that's when we have the monthly, people associate madness and lunacy with the full moon. So at that time of the month, the subconscious is communicating, hopefully, with the intermediary, the Holy Spirit, the representative of that sun. So we've got that going on within us, mirroring what's going on outside of us, mirroring what is going on within all the ness. So I thought about that as well, because what I'm experiencing right now is my subconscious communicating openly. The veils are thinning. The subconscious and the conscious are going to be more aware of one another, or the subconscious is going to take over. Because we have spent our entire lives suppressing our subconscious. And when it decides it's not going to be oppressed anymore, it's going to take over. So, the veils are thinning, and everything is coming into alignment within me. And I had prayed that everything within me would be in alignment with God's will. So I'm creating alignment in here while I create alignment with what inside me is mirroring. And then I'm in perfect alignment. Like, when the son goes to the Father, my subconscious is coming to the Father aspect, the masculine of my brain. And so it goes back and forth. That's one. Something like that. So I thought that might be helpful. Especially sometimes it's like I never even connected it. Because we're so set in, okay, so that's wrong, that's evil, that's bad. This is good, this is right, this is true. But they're both true in some respect. Yes, it's true. The Christ seed goes up the chimney, or, like, they have all the traditions explain what happens inside of us, simultaneously explaining what's happening outside of us. So both are true, but this truth is no good without this truth. See, you can serve, you can maintain and uphold your part of the contract described by the 10 Commandments and knowing the no-hide laws, the Shabbat, the feast days, and all of that. You can do that without all of that knowledge and esoteric stuff coming out of you, and you'll still be in alignment. But to just have this knowledge, oh, okay, this is what's happening, without modeling it, mirroring this image, then we are not in alignment with this. Like, it's just whoosh, right past us. Or we're fighting it off, or we're attacking it. But this is what happens because the subconscious may adopt the that's evil, while the conscious is saying, hey, I'm playing out with this for a while. And then there's conflict and a closing off. One of the gifts of this for me was realizing that in response to my constantly shutting myself down, because every time I want to do something good for me, the lashback in childhood especially was very violent and very aggressive. So of course I would cringe, and I'd be like, my insides would be like, but you really need that food. Like, nah, don't touch that food. Don't touch that food. That's, my father used to put the cherry in his drink and give it to me, and then I wouldn't remember what happened after that. So like, my inside is like, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. But I knew if I didn't do it, then I would have to observe horrible things being done to me. So it was like, I'd rather be unconscious, but the subconscious is always conscious. And so it does not want to take the brunt of the load because we think we can't handle it and we don't want to suffer pain. So a wall goes up, and the subconscious refuses to let the conscious do what's healthy. It'd be like, no, but I feel really good when I drink that, and I feel stronger, and I don't feel sick, and I don't get stressed out by everything as much. And that takes over. That part takes over. And then the subconscious gets resentful, and it feeds it, and it causes you to make that choice. Deep rabbit holes. But they're all connected. So we could have, and another thing was disappointment. You do something for somebody, you follow the instructions, but then their alternate personality shows up and they're like, no, you did this wrong. Like, the disappointment. And it gets passed from parent to child. And we wear this cloak, this mask. Disappointment. I will disappoint you. Everything, I buy something, it breaks. It's no good. It's not worth returning. Things don't work like it's supposed to. We make these plans and they fall through, and you're expecting that all your bills were paid because you have auto pay on everything, and then you get a notice you're overdrawn. There's all these fees tacked to it. I used to have a bank account. So we just give and receive nothing, but we have a disappointment wound. They say we have core wounds. I had never heard of this before, but I'm probably not the only one. Disappointment. Did our Creator feel disappointment with Adam and Eve, and then wearing their disappointment, walk out and spread that like a disease to their children? Spread it into the earth, and so that's why they had to work so hard, that the earth was cursed, because they're just oozing disappointed by these plants. They don't look like the Garden of Eden did. Just feeding everything with disappointment. And how disappointed when Cain kills Abel. I mean, the disappointment in one another. We could be carrying a sense of disappointment that we got from Adam and Eve. So, our Creator will go out of His way, from way up in that throne room, send His energy, his thoughts, his responses. Put that in angels, and they come and they lay their hands on you, tell you you are not a disappointment. You're a source of pride. And that is a very cool feeling.